Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Darrell Brooks saga. I'm Jester, and today we're going to continue with day 7. This is a great witness. He's the one that actually shot Darrell Brooks, so let's see how they fare against each other. Also, I just want to say thank you. You guys have been subbing, you guys have been liking the videos, sharing the videos. That is awesome. It's really amazing the support that you guys have given me. I want to say thank you for that. Alright, let's get into the video.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We'll have the jury brought out, and the state may call its next witness when the jury is out here. Go ahead.
Subject matter jurisdiction, Your Honor.
No,
Could that at least be noted for the record?
we've been through this.
Your
Many
objection is
times.
noted for the record. I don't believe the audio's on. Your objection is noted for the record. I addressed that yesterday. I will not be addressing it again.
Was I at least heard for the record? Because you just stated that the audio wasn't on.
We heard you.
I heard it.
I heard it.
Did the record hear it?
Yes.
So they heard me say subject matter jurisdiction hasn't been verified or proved yet?
Yes, that's what she said. Stop it. Again, he doesn't unbutton the thing when it sits down.
Were you working as a police officer on November
Hey, there he is.
of 2021?
Yes, I was.
Were you assigned to work at the Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Yes, I was.
Could you circle for us the intersection where you were posted on
Yes.
this map? Okay, so you've circled the intersection of West Main Street and Wisconsin Avenue, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall what you were wearing that day?
Objection, Brother Dan.
Overruled.
Did you have a police radio with you while you were standing in the intersection?
Yes, I did.
At some point, did you hear something on the radio that concerned you?
Yes. Some sort of domestic disturbance or fight in Frame Park, and I could hear squads coming from that area, so I blocked traffic to allow the squads to get through, and then I just continued on with my parade duties.
Then what happened?
Officers on the road and officers and community service officers and reserve officers were working the parade. Everyone was starting to get on the radio, and more people started calling for ambulances. And then I could tell as people were calling for them, it was moving westbound on the parade route. I have a collar mic, so my microphone was approximately right about here on my chest. I don't have an earpiece. That's just what I use. So between trying to listen to the radio microphone and the parade, it was sort of hard to piece together. I started hearing more screams, and this time it wasn't just screams on my radio, it was screams like in my vicinity that I could hear.
As you're putting Exhibit 1 back up, I just want to make a record of the hand gesture he made previously when testifying about, I believe it was his radio microphone. He used his right hand, I would say about heart height, to indicate his, I believe he called it a lapel mic or something to do with his radio and where he would hear from. Go ahead.
Objection, I don't think he said lapel. I think he referred to the microphone just being here and not using the earpiece. That's just...
Your objection is noted. The state can seek clarification, but the fact,
That doesn't even matter. Like, he has to object about everything. Everything that someone else does is wrong. But every question about the plaintiff is right.
did my best to describe the action of the officer.
I recognize it was a red SUV, and there was extreme vehicle damage to it. Vehicle damage that you would see at a traffic crash between two vehicles. At that point, between all the screaming, I heard everyone calling for ambulances and help, and then realizing people hit, I knew it was now people hit by a vehicle, and I knew that this vehicle had likely, and based on the speed of the vehicle, that the vehicle had ran through the entire parade route and likely severely injured people or killed people, and at that point I thought it was a terror attack at the parade.
Makes sense.
What happened as
He doesn't believe it.
continued southbound?
It accelerated towards me. That is when I knew I had to use deadly force to stop the threat.
Using cardinal directions, can you describe for us which side of you the SUV passed?
Objection, what is cardinal?
What?
Overruled.
Objection? What is cardinal? My guy, this is... there's some questions, there's some questions that you shouldn't say, even if you don't know it. Just don't say them. What is
This may answer.
what is
The vehicle
cardinal?
passed to the east of me.
Did you get a good look at the driver?
Yes, I did.
Do you see the driver in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, I'd ask Mr. Brooks please remove his mask for a moment.
Thank you for doing that, Mr. Brooks. His mask is off.
Can you identify the driver in the courtroom if you see him?
Yes, the driver is seated at the defense, wearing a blue tie and blue shirt underneath his suit jacket.
Does the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
The record will reflect the witness has identified the defendant as the driver of the vehicle he saw on November
I
20th.
couldn't object to that. They didn't say Brooks. They just said the
What
defendant.
happened after the vehicle passed you on your right?
I began firing at the driver of the vehicle, and as that happened, he ran over the barricades and ultimately left the parade route and continued southbound on Northwest Avenue.
West Avenue is how many blocks from Maple Avenue?
One block.
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
You see a video on the screen in front of you?
Yes, I do.
We're going to play a few moments without any audio just to see if you recognize this video, okay?
Okay.
We've played 7 seconds for you. Do you recognize this video?
Yes, I do.
What does it show?
This is the vehicle that was driven by Darrell Brooks on
Oh
during the
no.
Christmas parade that drove past me and I shot at.
He said his name.
I don't consent to or being called that name, or nor do I identify it. I'm hearing third party.
There we go.
So
Your
I want that
objection
stated
is
for the
noted.
record.
It's overruled. The witness has previously identified you.
I want
Go
that
ahead.
stated for the record.
It's stated. It's always stated in the
Yeah.
record. If you say it,
Watch,
it's on the record.
the entirety of this clip with volume, please, at regular speed.
There's the 3 shots. Only to the car though.
Okay. How many gunshots did you hear in that video?
3.
Is that consistent with your memory of the event?
Yes, it is.
Can we pull that back up at about the 10-second mark, please? Can you circle yourself for us? Okay, we can clear that, please.
It's really close.
Can we slow this down with no audio? Slow it down to about 50%, please. And play from there.
There he goes.
And we can pause it. Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes, I do.
What does it show?
This shows the vehicle damage that I observed when I first saw the vehicle as it was coming towards me. This is the vehicle that was, again, driven the Christmas parade by Darrell Brooks.
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name. Again, for the record, I'm hearing third party.
No one cares.
The
For the
objection,
record.
it's on the record.
Does this appear to be a screenshot from the video we just watched, Exhibit 57?
It does appear so.
And again, this is then an accurate depiction of how the vehicle looked that day?
That is correct.
I move Exhibit 170 into evidence and ask to publish.
Objection, relevancy.
Overruled.
The
Exhibit
event.
170 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
Look at that. Look at the
Is this an
damage.
accurate
Oh my
depiction of how
god.
the vehicle and the driver looked to you that day?
Yes.
Move Exhibit 169 into evidence and ask to publish.
Objection,
Exhibit 169 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
objection.
What?
Noted. Overruled.
And here, there he is. You can see him.
We're going to play a few seconds of this, give you a chance to see if you recognize it, okay?
Okay.
What does it show?
shows pretty much what the last video showed, just from a different point of view from that same intersection.
He's scanning the video.
Um,
All right, here we go.
You stated initially that you had heard
The button.
some radio calls about a possible altercation at Frame Park.
That is correct.
Do you recall what the initial report of that was?
My recollection of that was that there was a call for service. Is either a domestic or some sort of physical altercation along the riverfront in Frame Park, and that there was a male with a armed with a knife, and that he was fleeing from the area.
Do you recall if there was ever a knife recovered or a suspect recovered in that supposed incident?
Who cares? The knife is
Do you
not relevant.
mean, like, how much later do I know? Like, what I know now?
At any time.
He's always very effective when they ask about a specific time. He just says at any time.
Do you know if there was a suspect, I guess I would say, apprehended or anything that was found with a knife, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, I do not know if the suspect from that incident, which was you, was located with a knife.
You, what do you mean?
You, Darrell Brooks. I know you were the suspect
Nice.
in that incident, and I know you were taken into custody approximately 30 to 40 minutes later. I do not know if you were armed when you were taken into custody.
I'll let the record reflect that I do not identify by that name, nor do I know any individual by that name. I'm here in third party.
All right, so I just wanted to ask you guys, how do you think the jury felt every time that he said that? I mean, if we could see the jury, do you think everyone will be rolling their eyes to the back of their head every time that he does this? Because I would. I'm doing it.
The record's noted, although the jury will disregard the comments, they are
keep
not
saying-
evidence in this case. Next question, please.
At the time, you said, did you respond to that incident at the park?
No.
So how can you know who was involved with it if you didn't respond yourself?
Because you stated at any time
Yeah.
this investigation took a long time to complete, and from this investigation we determined that you were the suspect in that
You
investigation.
determined that?
I did not, no.
Okay. You weren't sure where other officers were stationed, but you gave an approximate estimate. Would that be fair to say?
That is correct.
And would that have been officers stationed at different cross streets?
That is correct.
Do you know if those cross streets were barricaded?
I know that there were barricades across numerous intersections for the parade route. That's how we shut down traffic in the downtown area for parades.
So pretty much every side street is barricaded.
I can't give you specifics on what streets were barricaded, but yes, the vast majority of streets are barricaded to stop traffic for the parade route.
Yeah.
Can you pull up Exhibit 1? Can you see, well, I know you can. Can you see the red lines on this map that we're looking at?
Yes,
Right.
What do those red lines constitute?
barricades.
So would it be fair to say that there's a red line at every cross street that we can see on this map?
Sure.
That would be
Do you mean
Start-
along the parade route or
start
the entire map?
along the parade route, starting at East Main Street. There's a red mark. Oh, I didn't mean to put that arrow. Can we clear that? I was trying to put like a little dot. Starting there, there's a red line there. There's 2 at Buckley.
Well, hold
Ask
on,
a
you're
ques- ask a
testifying, I
question.
gotta ask a question. So the juror will disregard that
Are
statement.
there 2 at Buckley?
Yes.
Is there one at Martin Street?
Yes.
Is there one at is there 2 at Barstow Street?
Yes.
One at Gaspar,
Yes.
one at North Grand, and one at West Broadway.
What is the point of this? Okay, they're barricades, so
There's 2 at West Broadway.
Well, it's one is on the closer to where it says North Grand, and one is on the other side of the star right there.
objection
This is what I'm
relevance.
referring to.
Okay. Yes, there are
Can
2
you
right
clear
there.
that?
Please clear that.
Please,
So
yes, you can
there's
say
2 there.
please.
There's 2 at Clinton Street. Can you see those 2?
Yes.
There's one at Maple Avenue. Can you see that one?
Yes.
And there's one at right here at West Avenue. Can you see that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Barricades at all those streets.
Yes.
Yes.
So would it be fair to say if someone wanted to exit the parade route, they would essentially be blocked in by the officers and barricades?
No.
No.
There are barricades at these streets we can see. Would that be fair to say?
No.
So it's not fair to say that there's barricades at these streets?
It's fair to say that there's barricades at the streets.
So essentially, if someone was leaving the parade route, can they just go right through the barricades?
Yes.
Based on the previous videos that we just were shown.
Not based on the previous videos.
What do you mean not based on the previous? We just saw it happen. The moment that we saw it happen, you should have just stopped this line of questioning. It's not worth it, my guy. Like, he thinks that these barricades are force fields. Like, like if there's a barricade, no car can ever go out of that way. They're stuck. There's like an infinite wall that doesn't allow a car to get out of it, even though we just saw a video of him driving through ones. So what is this questioning?
If someone was leaving the parade route, can they just go down these streets that are barricaded? Can they just drive right out of there?
Yes, the video
How
showed
when,
that.
how when it's barricaded?
What do you mean how?
As the video were shown
We're not
earlier,
referring to
the
the
vehicle
videos. We're
went
not
right through the
referring to-
Hold on,
barricade.
you asked the question, you have to let him answer that he's giving you the reason. You asked him how. He's explaining it.
There's plenty of ways to get off the parade route. You can stop after being given lawful orders by officers, and they could have directed you off the parade route in a safe manner. You could have stopped the vehicle at any point.
Yes.
Or you could have driven through plastic barricades like you did at Northwest Avenue, where I was located. So
And
yes, you
you
can drive
refer
through
to as
plastic
who?
barricades.
The
You,
refer to as who?
Darrell Brooks, you, the person
You.
that's talking.
The you?
Yes.
And how did you come to the conclusion of that name, as you stated that you couldn't see past this building here, which you said is the Wisconsin House? Would that be fair to say?
Well, that's a compound question, so you need to rephrase that, sir.
You
He really hates that this guy's going really hard with the U with his name. But his tactic right now is trying to say, no, you didn't know my name at that point. At the point where I was going through it, when you shot me, you didn't know my name. So how can you say it? You always say it at any time, my guy. So he knows now.
state clear this right there.
Please.
Please? Is that a please?
Thank you.
Can you clear this circle and arrow right here? That's
Please.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You stated that from where you were positioned that you couldn't see around that building. Did you say that?
Yes, I did.
You said after a few minutes, you noticed something was going on.
Yeah.
Do you recall from the reports how long this vehicle traveled along the parade route? An estimate of the time that it traveled down the parade route?
I do not know how long the vehicle was on the parade route for. If I had to estimate, I would estimate approximately 1 to 2.5 minutes. 2 minutes, maybe.
Would you say that it's fair to say that that's relatively a short amount of time?
I would agree with that.
So what do you mean by after a few minutes you noticed something was going on?
Because after a few minutes, what I meant by that was the initial call for service at the boat launch, or for that domestic fight in Frame Park. From that time frame, from when squads were responding to there to the time that I had shots fired, that is what I mean by a few minutes. So you have to take into account the time for squads responding to that call.
There you go.
I don't know police protocol, so just asking.
He just said that there was no point to my question. I just wanted to know. So why do you ask? Is there's no relevance for the case? That's a...
Mr. Brooks, please ask your next question.
I'm getting to it.
No, right, but I have to advise the jury to disregard the comment because it's not testimony.
Well, let's go to I believe it's Exhibit 57. One more second, if you could. There, can you pause it there? Would it be fair to say that those are barricades that are laying in the street there?
Yeah.
Correct.
There they
Any
are.
idea why they were not standing up?
Yes, I do.
What would be the reason?
It was very windy that day, so when they were standing up how they normally are, they kept on blowing across the street. So we tilted them on their sides so they wouldn't get blown across the road, and they would still stay up there and block traffic.
They would be able to block traffic by laying down,
Yes, they serve the same purpose.
but they would be able to block traffic by laying down.
Yeah, they did.
I guess I don't understand what your question is here.
Would it be much more easier to see them if they were facing upright than laying down?
I think
What is this questioning? I mean, it doesn't matter. They didn't stop your car. That's what you wanted, right? So what?
the height difference between them laying down and being upright is probably quite minuscule, because as you see, the legs that are now up in the air are approximately the same height as what the bar would be if they were standing up how they normally are.
And you come to that conclusion how?
Based on my training experience after deploying barricades on numerous events and working several parades in my work history.
So you would estimate that a barricade facing upright and a barricade laying down would be the same height.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Can you bring it back to 10 seconds? It looks like you're firing your weapon right there. Would that be fair to say?
I do not know if I have pulled the trigger yet or not. I don't believe I have.
You were ready to fire at that point.
That's correct.
Do you recall what you were aiming for?
Yes, I do.
Driver.
Can you state for the record and for the jury?
You, Darrell Brooks.
Again, you make reference to the you and the name.
Yeah.
How did you come to that? Seeing as how you just testified to that you couldn't see anything before what you call the Wisconsin house. Would that be fair to say that you testified to that?
That's correct.
So how could you determine at this time right now where we're looking at that you knew the suspect's name and the driver?
He never said that.
Because you keep referring to you and then you saying the name. How did you have that information at this point that's paused right here that we're looking at?
I didn't say at that time I knew your name.
There you go.
You referred to the name. Did you not?
That is correct.
So how were you able to obtain the information about a name?
I did not know your name at the time I shot at you.
Who's the you were referring to?
Darrell Brooks.
The person that I'm talking to.
Again, you say a name that you haven't answered how you came to that information. Were you told this?
Yes.
By whom?
I do not know who told me. Ultimately, I just know that throughout the course of the investigation, your name, you were arrested within 30 or 40 minutes, and you were identified as Darrell Brooks, who was the suspect in this incident.
There you
So
go.
you either had to hear that name from either a report that you heard or someone told you. How did you come to the conclusion of the name?
So he's saying that this guy that we have in front of us, the defendant, this guy, unless he told him his name, he can tell his name because he doesn't know? Well, what is this question now? I'm really confused.
I'm assuming someone at the police department told me your name.
And you don't recall who that was?
No.
Even though you can cite the name so clearly and identify it and keep stressing it and stressing it, and you don't recall how you learned the information of the name?
Oh,
That is correct.
So is it fair to say that you're just using the name based off what you're told and not what you...
yeah, like I don't remember anyone telling me what the Eiffel Tower was called, but I know that's what it's called. Someone told me, and now I know.
you were aware of?
What are you asking me?
Is it fair to say that you're identifying this name based off of what you told and not what you knew?
I'm saying the name based on the fact that you are arrested for this incident. You were identified during this incident, and because of that investigation, that is how we know your name.
Would it be fair to say, and obviously you said you've been in law enforcement for 7.5 years, correct?
Correct.
I'm sure you've done a lot of investigations in that 7.5 years. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
So you do understand that during a police investigation, any suspect is innocent until proven guilty. Would that be fair to say?
That's correct.
I mean, that's what the law says, but I think this is an exception because we saw you, my guy. Like, yeah, you can say that you're innocent because the jury hasn't convicted you yet, but you're on video doing this, so it's pretty much closed. So, what?
And so with that knowledge, why are you so adamant about the name of the suspect that you just testified to not being aware of at the time? That you testified to, in fact, being told?
What?
I'm sorry, I'm confused by your question.
Yeah,
Can you say
I
it
don't know
again?
what you asked.
I think it was clear, but I'll say it again.
It's not.
Thank
Look,
you.
what do you mean that it's clear? If the witness is asking you, what are you saying? That means that it's not clear.
Well, I'll say it this way. You testified to not being aware of the suspect's name at the time.
Right?
Correct.
You also testified to being told of the name, correct?
Correct. I don't know how I came about your name. I would assume it was through the investigation at the police department.
And were you, in fact, part of that investigation?
No, I was not.
So it would be fair to say that by you using a name, you would not be short. How can you be short?
I'll object.
Yeah. Thank you.
Brown.
Argumentative.
Thank you, Zach.
It's been asked, it's been answered, it's argumentative, the objection is sustained. Please ask your next question.
Yeah, the judge, you know that the judge was waiting for someone to say something because he was so
I
annoyed
asked
when
about
he said it.
what you were aiming at when you fired. You didn't give a definitive answer. You were aiming for the driver?
I felt like I gave a pretty definitive answer. My answer was you,
You
Darrell
were aiming
Brooks.
for the driver.
Yes,
Yes.
it's pretty definitive. I identified the person I
So
was shooting at.
what part of the driver's body could you see when the vehicle passed you?
When the vehicle was approaching me, I could see the silhouette of his face and upper portion of his body.
Can you describe what you mean by silhouette?
Yes.
The upper portion of a person's body, I would say, from maybe chest, shoulders, and head and face.
You said silhouette though. What is a silhouette?
The outer
He
portion.
doesn't know what a silhouette means. He just doesn't know the word.
Portions
He's confused.
of what would be like your shoulder down your arms
Yeah,
to your chest.
the
silhouette would be
outline
the
of your
outer
body.
portion of it.
That would be the upper half, not the silhouette. What do
Argumentative.
you mean by silhouette?
The objection is sustained. It's Mr. Brooks is not asking a question. It was argumentative. The jury can
Would
certainly
it be
decide what that means, but
Would
he's
it-
answered the question.
Would it be fair to say that that would be equivalent to a profile?
Sure.
What do you mean by a profile?
A profile would be sort of like a side angle view.
That's what he
Would it be fair to
said.
say that a silhouette would be more of an outline that would be kind of similar to a profile?
Bleeding
I don't know
hairs.
exactly what you're asking here, but I can tell you when the vehicle was driving towards me, I could see your face, and then as the vehicle drove to my right, yes, then I saw the side of your face, and so then, yes, as a vehicle passes you, you see different portions of the driver, I guess you could say.
And so you aim towards what you can see.
Correct.
So that would be the upper part, as you say. You said the shoulder. You made I think it was your left hand pointing to your right shoulder, shoulder and up silhouette, as you say.
That is what I could see when you were driving at me. You asked me what I could see of you, and that is what I could see of you in the vehicle when you were approaching me.
The question now, though, is that what you aim for?
I was aiming at you, yes.
Yes.
At what you can see.
I was aiming at you in the driver's seat, yes.
What do you want? To shoot you in the legs? Is that what you want to hear?
Shoulder, as you pointed to, and up, correct? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Yes.
Firing a weapon of your caliber, would any of those shots be kill shots?
Would be.
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that firing a kill shot at anyone would terrify him?
So he's trying to say that he was terrified because he shot him. Look, when he shot you, you get out of the parade. So terrifying you was a good thing. Hopefully someone did it before. Well, there was a lot of people, so it was kind of dangerous. But still, that's what made you get out of the parade.
I'm sure being shot at is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So,
Judging based on what you see that you testified to, a silhouette from about here that you pointed to, from the shoulder, using your left hand, you pointed at your right shoulder from here up. And you just acknowledged that any one of those three shots could have been kill shots.
could have been.
Would it be fair to say that you were aiming to kill? Shooting to kill, rather. Not aiming to kill, but shooting to kill.
No.
No. What if he?
So,
When
in
hit
your
your arm.
estimate, what do you think you would have hit if you just testified to saying that you aimed at the driver? What were you estimating to hit?
You.
Well, my intention was to shoot you in the upper portion of the body. However, my intention was not to kill you. My intention was to stop the threat that you were posing to everyone in the downtown area at the Christmas parade.
keep referring to the you again. Well, that's not a question. So,
Okay.
by your estimation, acknowledging that those were kill shots, if you connected with any of those shots, is it possible the driver could have been killed?
Yes.
Maybe. So,
And would it be fair to say that that's deadly force?
Yes.
yeah. So,
Do you think it would have been possible to aim at the tire of the vehicle?
No.
Why not? Would shooting the tire of the vehicle not stop the vehicle?
No, it would not have.
So a blown tire would, to your estimation, a blown tire would not stop a vehicle from moving?
no.
No, it will not.
No, this guy thinks this is a video game where if you shoot the tire, the car won't go out anymore. No, I've seen police chases that go for hours with the guy with no tire. So this guy thinks this is a video game.
So it'll just
Or a
keep going,
movie.
it won't even slow down?
That is
No.
correct. I'm trained to stop the threat. You were the threat. The vehicle was not. The vehicle was the weapon in which you used. So that is why I shot at you.
There's the you again. Pretty clever.
Clever.
Could you have, well, you testify that you're trying to stop the threat. And
Right.
so, would it be fair to say that that training constitutes shooting kill shots?
Well, we are trained in deadly force, and when we are presented with a deadly force incident, yes, we have to sometimes make that difficult decision and use deadly force.
Have you ever used deadly force before that incident?
Objection.
Ground.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Sustained.
Were you injured in any way during the incident?
Here we
No,
go.
I was not.
Plaintiff's time.
So, why did you feel the need at the time, not knowing the full extent of what was happening, to use deadly force?
Because as I previously stated, based on the fact that the radio traffic for people screaming for ambulances, and as different officers were getting on the radio, and it was progressively moving further and further westbound towards me on the parade route, that, and then officers saying someone was hit, the amount of vehicle damage, I knew the vehicle had been striking pedestrians in the roadway, and because of that, that's a deadly force incident. So that is why I deployed deadly force.
So you said you knew.
Yeah.
You knew what the vehicle had. You knew. You said it multiple times. You knew.
Yes,
How could you know if you could not see around the position that you were positioned in?
It's
How
called
do you know that?
context, Brooks.
because based on the
Learn it.
speed of a vehicle on a closed roadway during a parade, and people running out of the way so they did not get run over right in front of me, between all of those things, I knew what had just happened, and that is why I had to take action.
And you knew based on the radio reports.
I would say everything that I had just previously described, all of that encompassing, yes, that led up to my decision making into, yes, now I knew what had happened.
But you do recall that no one was struck from the time you saw the vehicle.
Because they move away, dude.
Yes, after looking back, after videos later on throughout the
No,
investigation.
no. From which you saw, from which you observed with your own eyes.
No, I can't recall ever seeing someone hit right in front of me. No, I do not recall that.
And you still made the decision to shoot to kill.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Well, no.
Actually, correction, I shot to stop the threat. If ultimately you would have been killed from that, that is a possible outcome.
Yeah, that's whatever.
But you did testify that they were kill shots, did you not?
Objection. Argumentative.
Sustained. It's also been asked and answered in multiple ways at
Do
this
you
point.
recall what your shots hit? If anything?
If anything.
Yes, later on throughout the investigation when I
No,
gave
at
my...
the time. Not,
guy-
not later on, at the time where you fight.
He asked an open question and then he gets mad when the guy answers that.
Fired the shots.
Mr. Brooks, you asked a question, he was attempting to answer it, so you have to
I
let,
was trying to give him clarification on what I mean.
but you have to let him answer the question that you asked, and if you feel the need for follow-up, then you can do that, or ask a very specific question.
I believe it was 3 days after the incident. That is when I gave my voluntary statement to Detective Kirby and Detective Casey, and upon completion of that statement, I asked them if they could share any information with me, and during that conversation I was shown a picture of the vehicle and where my round struck the vehicle.
You stated you asked them for any additional information that they can give you. So
Correct.
it would be fair to say at that time you still didn't have a lot of information. Would it be fair to say that?
That is correct. I didn't know where my rounds had struck previous to that.
So if there was information that you're acknowledging that you had no knowledge of, which would be essentially the reason why you would ask if they can volunteer more information to you, then how would there be any way of knowing if you struck the suspect?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained, it's a compound, confusing question, please rephrase.
You said you made a statement during your testimony that you had learned that the suspect was not injured. Do you recall who you learned that information from?
I believe Detective Stern was at our substation with Darrell Brooks after taking him into custody, and I was shown a photo at that point, and I know I had asked if he sustained any injuries or if anyone else had sustained any injuries from my use of force.
So you weren't sure at that point? You weren't
No,
sure?
I was not certain at that point. It was, I can't describe it any more than it was just pure chaos. And at that point I did not know if anyone else was injured from my rounds, or up until I was confirmed that you were not injured. At that point, no, I did not know if anyone was hurt until I was told that.
So would it be fair to say that, and as you just stated, you were unsure if the suspect or anyone else was injured?
Right?
Would it be fair to say that there was a possibility because you did not know for certain?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Yes, thank you.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor.
Asked and answered. Next question.
Were you able to make out a license plates from the vehicle when he passed you?
So when I spoke with other officers, that's when I explained to them that I was the one that had shot. It was not a suspect shooting, it was me. And that the vehicle in question was a red Ford Escape. And I must have provided a license plate to Detective Casey during that debrief on scene. I did not know about that until about 2 days later when I gave my statement to Detective Kirby and Detective Casey, because that is when I was informed by Detective Casey that I had actually provided him a correct license plate, but I don't remember that.
Right.
Any reason why you didn't mention the license plates in your report?
Because like I stated, I don't remember it.
So it'd be fair to say if you don't remember it, then it's a possibility that you didn't get the license plate number.
I would say that if Detective Casey is telling me that I told him on scene during a traumatic incident that I provided him the license plate of the vehicle, I'd have to believe that Detective Casey is correct. There's many things that you do not remember during a traumatic incident, and I believe that's because your brain prevents you from remembering everything.
He protected himself.
So you would describe it as a traumatic incident that you do recall using deadly force and recalling what you was aiming for, but not the license plates or anything else like that?
Yeah, there's difference in that. The license plate is is minuscule compared to the driver and the shooting a guy. It's different
That is correct.
Would it be fair to say that
magnitudes.
because you describe it as a traumatic event, that there was a lot of things that you probably don't recall about the incident?
I would agree with that. I would think that there's a lot of things when I started going up West Main Street and started seeing the absolute destruction. I know there's things that I did and saw that I don't really remember, and I don't really want to remember.
Yeah.
Will one of those possibly be the suspect that you keep naming?
No.
No.
And how did you come to the knowledge of the make and model of the vehicle when on the exhibit that was shown, you only had interaction with it for a few seconds? How were you able to make out the make and the model of the vehicle?
He's a cop.
Because that vehicle model has been out for quite some time, and I'm halfway decent with vehicles, and I readily recognize that it was a Ford Escape.
So you've seen many Ford Escapes?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you said the model has been out for some time, so what do you mean by that? Do you mean
It's
was an older
2022
model?
now,
Do you mean-
and that Ford model was approximately a 2008-ish to maybe a 2011, 2010-ish. So, yeah, they've been out for over a decade.
Yeah.
And how did you come to that knowledge of the estimate of the years that the model could have been?
Because he's seen
would
cars.
you agree that that's pretty difficult to know just off the bat?
No.
Would that be fair to say?
No.
So it would be pretty easy to tell the make and model and year of a vehicle just by looking at it.
That is correct.
If you like cars, yeah.
So it'd be fair to say if someone had a vehicle right here in front of you, you'd be able to tell just by looking at it for a couple of seconds the make, the model, and the year.
Most.
Depending on what vehicle it is, yeah, quite likely. I'm decent with vehicles.
What do you mean by decent?
I can recognize many vehicles that are manufactured. Part of being a police officer is dealing with vehicles. We run a lot of vehicle registration plates. So when you match the registration to a vehicle on a response, you become very well accustomed to the many different vehicles that are manufactured.
Did you at any time see the registration of the vehicle that passed you?
Like I stated previous, I debriefed with Detective Casey during the incident, and he stated that I gave him a registration number, a registration plate for it. I do not recall giving him that registration plate, but Detective Casey informed me that I provided him a correct license plate for that vehicle.
Would it be fair to say that a registration could, would it be fair to say that that automatically links to the make and model and year of the car? Would it be fair to say that? That if you ran, or if we're judging by the license plates, if you were conducting a stop, and to do that you will have to run the license plates, would it be fair to say that all that information would come up in your computer when you run the license plate?
It didn't have a computer.
That'd be fair to say?
You had a lot of questions right there. So
Okay, let me back up then. So if you were conducting a traffic stop
okay,
and you pulled up the license plates of the vehicle that you were stopping,
okay.
would the information registered to that vehicle show in your computer?
Objection relevance.
If the license plate is actually accurate and current to that actual vehicle, yes.
Did you have a system or any equipment that could have assisted you in learning the make and the model and year of the vehicle at the time of the incident?
No, I was on foot with no other equipment.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say that you did not know that information until later when you were told by Detective Casey or another detective?
No, because like I previously stated, I can recognize vehicles pretty well, and I knew it was a Ford Escape, and I knew the approximate year of it.
You did testify that, and you can also see from the exhibit video that the front end of the vehicle was damaged. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
That is correct.
And you can still make out the make and model and year of the vehicle with extensive damage.
Yes.
That is correct.
Could you see the emblem of the vehicle at that point?
I don't recall if I saw an emblem or not. I know the body style of the vehicle, and I knew it was a Ford Escape.
Would it be fair to say that many SUVs have the same type of body build?
I'm sure some vehicles do look similar.
So would it be fair to say that there's a possibility that you could not make out the make and model and year of the vehicle, especially with it being extensively damaged to the front?
No.
No, I was confident that it was a Ford Escape.
And it was. So your argument falls flat on his face.
Did you notice any tints on that vehicle?
The front windshield that I looked through, I know was not tinted, or it was not tinted enough to not make me recognize you.
You don't recall, though, for sure, if there were any tints to any windows of the vehicle you saw?
Well, all windows are tinted to some extent. It just depends on to what percentage of tint that they come with. So I'm sure there is tint on the windows, because vehicles come from the factory with some level of window tint. So I guess to your question, was there any window tint? I'm sure there was, but not to a degree that would prevent me from seeing who was driving it.
Explain what you mean by tint percentage.
So there's
Explain to me. I'm a child. Explain to me what that means. I don't get it.
different varying degrees of tint that you can put on vehicles.
Can you elaborate for the jury?
For the jury, not for me. For the jury.
Rounds.
I'll overrule the objection. Mr. Brooks, please ask your question again.
You stated that all cars come from the manufacturer with some level of tint, but you made a reference to percentage.
Correct.
Can you elaborate on percentage? What would constitute a darker tint versus a lighter tint?
Well, you've asked two questions now, so which one do you want him to answer first?
The last one, I'm sorry.
So you're asking him about
About
lighter
the tint
versus
percentage.
darker.
About the tint percentage.
So like a 50% tint would be a lighter tint than like a 35% tint.
So the lower the percentage, the darker the tint.
That is
What is
correct.
Okay.
what is the relevance of this? The tint grade wasn't tested. This means nothing. I don't get it. Why
Did you know
why did they let him go on
the
about
make and
this?
model of the vehicle that you saw that day? Would you know if those model vehicles come from the manufacturer with any tint?
How would he know?
To be honest with you, I don't work for Ford, so I don't know if they come with tint, but I would assume, as most vehicles, when they come from the factory, they come with some sort of tint. I believe usually the front is approximately 50% tint, and the rears are usually, I think, 25 or 30 or something like that.
So from your knowledge, the backer windows are usually coming from the manufacturer, maybe a little bit darker than the front.
Correct.
What is the
No
point of
further
all of
questions.
this?
So the barricades that we saw at the intersection where you were posted,
Get him, Zach.
those have been blown over by the wind?
Yes, standing upright, they kept on blowing directly, like right off the street. So I tipped them down on their sides so they wouldn't, I guess, catch as much wind, and they wouldn't blow all over the place.
Did those barricades appear to slow down the SUV as it drove through them?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled, he may answer, given all of the cross.
No, it did not slow the vehicle down at all.
Can we please put up for the jury exhibit number 3, which has previously been published?
Go ahead.
Let's play from this second, please.
There is.
Pause. Does that appear to be the same make and model as the SUV you saw driving through your intersection?
Objection.
Overruled.
It's clear.
Yes, it does.
Is there a difference between this vehicle and the vehicle you saw at your intersection?
The difference in the vehicle is that there's no damage on this one.
Okay, let's play again from this point.
There he is. Real tough guy over there.
Was the appearance of that person and their clothing consistent with the person you saw driving the SUV through your intersection?
Objection. Speculation. 2 different incidents.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes.
Could we please put up for everybody exhibit number 120, which has previously been received? The person seated in the driver's seat, does that look like the same person you saw driving that red SUV?
Yes.
Could we put up for everybody, please, exhibit number 9? Does that appear to be the same vehicle that you saw driving through the intersection of Wisconsin and Maine?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes.
Does that appear to be the same driver of that same vehicle?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
That's
The
not what
witness may
hearsay
answer.
means.
Yes.
Could we please put up for everybody exhibit number 169, which has previously been published?
Go ahead.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
What's going on with that front passenger window?
It looks like it's,
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
it looks like it's rolled down.
So if someone had, before this incident, painted that window black, covered it in a black paper bag, and taped it up with duct tape, and then rolled the window down, would that have prevented you from seeing through the front passenger window?
Objection. Speculation.
No.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Who was the person depicted in exhibits number 120, number 9, and number 169?
Darrell Brooks.
Thank you.
Objection. I do not consent to being called that name.
That was a great rhetoric.
Your objection is noted. However, the jury is
You already-
advised to disregard as it's not testimony.
Oh, he's so mad about it. All right, we're gonna leave it here. Thank you for watching. Give it a like if you made it this far. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you liked it. I really like this guy. He goes toe to toe with Brooks. He doesn't let him get any ground on him. He pushes back with his name and stuff, and he's really mad about it. And I love that. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.